everybody, it's Amalia. Thanks for stopping by my channel. Today, I'm going to be playing with all of my scrap colored cardstock and my brand new VersaFine Clair colors. I'm also using my small sponge daubers and some larger sponge daubers from Imagine Crafts. I'm starting out with stencils, and since I have so much colored cardstock, I'm going to try and do some ombre or tone-on-tone coloring. I'm starting out with avocado, which is a light green color, and I thought it would kind of go well with this bright yellow. These larger sponge daubers are called jumbo daubers, and they're perfect for covering a large amount of space. The next color I'm using in the VersaFine Clair is called grass green. It's a gorgeous bright green color. VersaFine Clair is a pigment ink for fine details. It brings out the finest details in your projects. And it has the longest lasting pigment ink pad available anywhere. Let's move on to the next set of colors. Now I'm using Hawthorn Rose, which is a lovely muted mauve rose color. And then I'll be moving on to Baby Pink, which is just what it sounds like, a lovely baby pink color. And I'm using the smaller sponge daubers here, the ones that you can put on your finger to use, because this is a very finicky stencil. The lines are very fine, and I want to be able to make sure to not move my lines around on this particular stencil. I moved over to using the baby pink now, and these are really bright, beautiful colors that stay true to their colors as they dry. And now I'm using Bally Blue. Bally Blue is my favorite color. It's a turquoisey type of blue, and I'm using a turquoise type of cardstock underneath. I'm keeping with the same color. I'm going tone on tone, and I'm also using the larger sponge dauber here, the jumbo dauber. This has a lot of detail, a lot of lines on it, but it's not as delicate as the previous stencil was. Even though it's very detailed, the previous stencil just had a lot of air between the lines, let's say that. And this one has a little bit more strength to it, so I can use the larger dauber, I can pounce, I can swipe, and I think you're going to like the way this one turns out. Next, we're moving on to a new color and another stencil. This is Vortex from Brutus Monroe, and I'm using a light colored lilac kind of paper. It's a piece of scrap paper. You can tell because I tore a corner off of it. And what we're using here is the VersaFine Clair Lilac Bloom. On this light colored lilac, it looks a little bit darker. And I like that contrast in the similar tones of color. I'm pressing heavier towards the center than I am as I come out from the center. I'm feathering it out, so to speak. I love this style of stencil, and I love how this looks on this scrap piece of paper. I also love foiling, and I have a foiling machine. I have a mini Mink. I have these Brutus Monroe card panels. I have tons of foiling supplies, and would you believe I've never done it before? That's right, this is my first time foiling. But before I foil, I want to do something I've never seen done before. I'm taking the VersaFine Clair Strawberry color, which is a gorgeous red color, and I am covering the entire foilable card panel with this strawberry color. And I'm going over the whole thing with red, and then what I'm going to do is pass it through the foiling machine with my gold color. Here's the entire panel covered with strawberry ink. It is gorgeous. I did the foiling off screen, but I'll show you my project at the end. The next color I'm using is Sand Dune. This is a very light tan color. But against the craft colored cardstock that I'm using, it really makes a nice contrast, and I can't wait to show you what my project looks like at the end. Here's the big reveal. I think the contrast is really lovely. Next, I'm actually going to use some VersaColor white. I think this stencil on the craft cardstock is like a Christmassy style stencil, so I think the VersaColor white would be perfect here. This is not part of the new VersaFine Clair color collection, but I couldn't help myself. I wanted to dig out that white VersaColor and pounce it through this very detailed stencil to create a holiday background. With the VersaFine Clair, there is a little bit of drying time, and you could use embossing powder with it. With the VersaColor, the drying time is even longer, and so I decided to cover this with some clear embossing powder and emboss on it. Here are the final panels. Look how gorgeous that foiling came out. It's not perfect, but I cut down all of these pieces, and this is not perfect either. I smudged it a little bit here and there. But again, I am cutting down some of these pieces. Not all of them made the cut, but I will be cutting down these pieces to create my cards with, and you'll see them in just a moment. Now I have used my VersaFine Clair Nocturne to stamp out all of these sentiments, and I'm going to start assembling my cards. This is Imagine Crafts Tear tape, and I'll be using that to assemble my cards. It's a wonderful double-sided adhesive tape that you just tear, like so. I decided to take a deeper color of that lavender and use it as a mat for my main focal point. And then I am going to use a bright yellow pre-made card as the card base. I decided to use the shades of purple and yellow because purple and yellow are two complementary colors. On their own, they are fabulous, and together they look wonderful. This pokey tool really helps with the tear tape because it helps it lift from the surface, and the tear tape has great stick to it. You can use tear tape on any of your card projects, and I've already added it to the back of this panel. I'm adding it to my card base, and the next step is to add my sentiment. For the next card, I'm going to finish it off by using some Versamark and heat embossing a very subtle pattern on the card base. And sometimes when you have a large background stamp like this, it's better to bring the project to the stamp than to bring the stamp to the project. So that's what I did here. I'm going to use a clear embossing powder for a tone-on-tone look to this card base. After all these years, heat embossing is still one of my favorite techniques. It's like magic. It just turns from powder to solid. I love it every single time. As you see, I cut my stenciled piece into an oval, and that's what's going to be the focal point of this particular card. Let's take a look at how all the cards came out when I finished them. Here's the first card. And I used some gems from Brutus Monroe to embellish all of the cards. And almost all of the sentiments are also from Brutus Monroe, called Super Sentimental. It has a variety of sentiments that will be perfect for any occasion. I love the tone-on-tone looks of each of these cards. The contrast of the blues and the yellows with the butterfly card, and the bright yellow and lavenders from the Good Luck card, and the neutral tones on my Happy Holidays card and this Happy Birthday card. Here's the final one with the foiled background. This red is a gorgeous red, and I found the perfect card base for it. For this other one, I used gold foiled paper for the background. And here's my card, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video and you could see all the possibilities of working with the VersaFine Clairs. And thanks so much for watching, folks. I hope to see you soon. Bye!